Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a review or kind of overview of Stafford Woods Disc Golf Course. It's my home course, so it's 9 holes, about 7,000 feet. It's going to be the future 18-hole layout. Right now it's about only at 35, so I hope you like it. So this is hole 1. It's 251 feet, and it's generally straight and a little bit to the right. From the tee, the basket is just straight, pretty much on the right-hand wood line. In the picture, you might be able to see it on the right. So that's pretty much where it is. It's a little bit, most people are going to throw a mid-range or low-speed driver here, and it's a little bit of a right-hand bender, so you want to throw it kind of out to the left and let the disc do its job and kind of turn over. So it goes straight for about 180. 180 to 200, and then it starts bending right. But it's a great par 3. I really like it, and it's a good 2 to get. So this is hole 2. It's 509 feet, and it kind of goes straight for about, say, 180, 200, then takes a very slight turn to the right. So most people are going to be throwing a turnover placement shot for their first shot, and then it's going to go up and take like a hard right hand turn, almost 90 degrees. So a lot of people are playing like forehand skip shots or lefty hyzer skip shots or big anhyzers on their second shot. Off the tee, there are 2 options. As I said, the turnover shot, where some people like to take like a Firebird or Destroyer and put a big anhyzer on it to try and get farther up the fairway and have an easier shot. The basket, since it is at a right turn, you have to throw a big anhyzer, get something to skip up in there. There's a bunch of trees surrounding the basket. It is a par 4, but distance-wise, it isn't too long for a par 4, but it's a good birdie to get. It definitely is. So that's hole 4. So this is hole 3. The basket shown in the picture is no longer there due to erosional purposes. So the basket is instead behind the hill and to the left. It's about 80 feet longer than that basket. So the shot here for righties is just a hyzer flip-up shot that kind of goes straight and then just dives off to the left. Gotta be careful of the water and the big mound that's right in front of you. It's about 40 feet in front of you, but it's like a 10-foot tide mound, so you gotta be able to throw over that. Don't go to the right because you can get knocked down by the trees you see in the basket picture. That's not fun because you'll most likely end up in the lake. But yeah, basically the shot is a nice hyzer flip right up the middle that fades left. So this is hole 4. It's par 4, 558 feet. Starts off straight, kind of doglegs left a little bit, and then holds that dogleg pattern. It's relatively open, but you gotta make it through the first group of trees, as you see in the first photo. After it kind of holds the dogleg left, most people are playing for position. They're gonna just lay out into the middle of the fairway, maybe 300, 320. That's what I do. And then it kind of slopes up a little bit, goes uphill a little bit, and flattens out into a landing area where the basket is. Most people are going to be throwing overstable driver, maybe skip it up in there, or a stable mid-range and just have it land there. Because it is open, this is a 3 that most pros want to get. For AMs, it feels good to get a 4 on this hole. It's a well-designed hole. I really like this hole. I like it a lot, so that's hole 4. So this is hole 5. It's 390 feet. It's par 3. It's the longest par 3 on the course. For most AM players, it won't be in reach. It'll be a nice drive and a little easy upshot. But for pro players, it's definitely in reach. Dangers on this hole. the rough can get real high in the summer, not so much of a factor in the winter. It can get pretty windy out there, especially, it's almost always windy out there actually. And then there's OB about 10 to 15 feet behind the basket. Doesn't come into play that much during the summer because there's grass there, but it does in the winter. And as I bring this photo up, the tree limb is trimmed higher so that you can squeak a hyzer under there, and that bush off to the left is gone. So that's hole 5. It's a real good birdie to get if you can reach it, and I like that hole. So this is hole 6. It's a 571-foot par 4. It's a little bit downhill. Most people are going to play placement right in the middle, hyzer shot, distance shot, whatever. Ideally, you want to get it between 300 and 400 feet out there so you have a look at the basket for a possibility at a birdie. The picture that I'm showing you now, the foliage is a bit cleared up, so there's not as some trees have been cut down. But what makes this hole really hard is the elevated basket. You gotta stick it on the hill, stick the disc on the hill, or kind of dig it in on your approach shot, and that's what makes this really probably, I'd say, the toughest birdie on the course, except possibly for hole 9. But the mound has been leveled out since this picture, so you can skip right off it. There's not much backdrop, but hole 6 is one of my favorite holes on the course, and it's a tough hole. So this is hole 7, a 300-foot par 3. There's a few options off the tee. It's a relatively narrow gap off the tee, but it opens up, and then there's nothing after that really to contend with. But you can lay up to the short tee, which is about a 200-foot up shot. You can be a bit more risky and lay up to the beach, which is about another 50 feet in front of that, which leaves you with a 150-foot up shot, which is relatively easy as well. I personally like to lay up to the left so that you can have an easy up shot, maybe 100 feet, but when it's not windy, I like to go for it with like a distance driver. This basket is prone to rollaways because it is on a downhill slope, and you got to make sure you don't go in the water. I've seen pretty big scores, 5, 6, 7s, 8s on this hole just because they keep going for the basket. It's a hole where you're really going to learn to lay up and play smart. And this is a good birdie, a pretty easy par if you don't screw it up, but it's a good birdie to get. So this is hole 8, 411-foot par 4. It starts out as a tunnel shot and opens up a little bit, and doglegs to the left, and then takes a little slight dogleg left to the basket. Most people play for position, just aim to the end of the gap, which is about 240 feet, or 240 feet. Or you can take the big, if you're feeling risky, you can take the big hyzer and kind of sweep it out to the right with a high-speed driver and let it skip to try and get as close to the basket as possible on your first shot. From there, it's a hyzer, a skip shot, or a spike hyzer up shot, to try and get close to the basket. I've certainly taken snowmans on this hole. If you get in the rough, I would recommend just pitching out because punching down the side of the fairway is not the best idea on this hole. For most pros will be getting 3s on this, if they make it through the gap. It's a pretty easy 3, but a good 4 as well. So that's hole 8. So this is hole 9, a 301-foot par 3. There's a couple options off the tee. You can take the inside route, take a turnover shot that kind of fluxes out at the end, or a big anhyzer on the outside route. For lefties, they're going to be mostly playing a hyzer flip up the inside gap. It's pretty tight. It's a really tough birdie, probably the toughest on the course, I'd say. This picture shows you the outside gap, the Big Annie gap that I talked about. And if you take that gap, it'll be a flick up shot or a lefty hyzer and anhyzer. If you take the other gap, it's mostly going to be a righty hyzer or a lefty anhyzer. From there, if you don't make it through the gap on your first shot, you're going to be left with an up shot. Just stump about 30-40 feet in front of the basket that you got to watch out you don't hit. I did it a couple times and it stopped me from getting a 3 or 2. Mostly 3, but it's a really tough 2, a good 3 to get. Try not to get off the fairway, and if you hit your gaps, you can be rewarded. So that was Stafford Woods Disc Golf Course, maintained by the local club, South Jersey Disc Golf. Hope you liked it, and thanks for watching.